Hi, I'm Jeanette Larson with Growth Unlimited. Life today is different. Life has changed for most of us in this world. Uh, but when the pandemic started a couple of years ago, things were tough then. But everybody figured that things would get back to normal and life would go on the way it was. Well, we don't know that that's going to happen now. The pandemic, with all of the variants, seems to keep ebbing and flowing. And experts are now telling us that there are going to be certain times of the year in certain geographical areas where we're going to have an increase in cases, and other times when the cases are going to drop off. It looks like we're going to be wearing masks for a very long time to come. And there's pressure from all sorts of sources for people to be vaccinated, whether or not they want to be. That's just one area of our life. What about the supply chain? How are we going to have Christmas this year when the store shelves are empty in October? When gasoline prices have increased 50 cents a gallon in just the last 2 weeks? Life is difficult, and a lot of people are realizing that there are some changes that need to be made in their lives. But it's really hard when you're under this kind of pressure to make those kinds of changes. And most people, like me, do not like change. There are things that they try to avoid doing. They'd much rather hide their head in the sand and pretend that it's going to all go away. Well, I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think it's going to go away. And if you really want change in your life, now is the time that you're going to need to make the decision that you have to make that change. And you're going to do what I did, because I found myself looking at myself in a hard way and deciding that there were things I needed to do to make changes in my life. Change is tough. And looking at growing personally and making big differences in your life in order to maintain the lifestyle that you have had, or to change your lifestyle for the better, takes a lot of effort and a lot of control. It's not as easy as going to the library and borrowing a self-help book, or even buying a self-help book and reading it. That doesn't solve the problem. And that is not what I call a growth mindset. Real change requires far more than that. Real change requires a commitment. Real change requires the desire to make changes that can be difficult in your life, and to keep at it until those changes work. Real change oftentimes requires an investment, a financial investment in yourself. All of these things come into play in order to have the real kind of change. And if you look at people who are successful, these are people who have been willing to commit to these changes and make them happen. Well, when times are tight and times are tough, it's hard to commit to a financial commitment. It's hard to I know I spend a lot of time thinking, I don't know if I can afford that right now. I probably need to table that until later. And then when there were things that I could do, that I could afford to do, oftentimes it just seemed too difficult to me, or there was too much risk. I was afraid of what other people might think of me, or I just didn't know if I wanted to commit to something that would be that big a difference from what my normal comfort zone allowed. Well, things kept getting worse, and things are going to keep getting worse unless I decide that I'm willing to get out of that comfort zone, make that commitment, and do what has to be done to create and recreate the kind of life that I want to live. And so that's what I'm doing. This video introduced the fact that I am biting the bullet, and I'm going to go to work on myself to make myself the kind of person that can achieve the kind of life that I want to have. And I'd like to invite you along with the journey. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but I have researched and looked for a very long time, and I have found a course and a group of courses that are going to help me achieve, that can help me achieve the goals that I want to achieve if I'm willing to put the effort in to make it happen. And I'm going to give it my good college try. And I want to have you along for the ride for a couple of reasons. First of all, I want to have some accountability. I want people watching so that they know what I'm doing. And I want to hear from you as you see me struggle, because you will. And I want to hear what you think about the process. And also, I want to show you that it's possible. If you're willing to put the effort in and you're willing to make it happen, you too can create the kind of life that you want to have. So let's see how it goes. Starting tomorrow morning, I am going to be posting my progress as I work through my first course. The course is called My Awesome Life, and I am going to have an awesome life when I'm done with it. So join me. And then on a weekly basis, I will report back in as to how I'm doing in the process of completing this course. And let's see what happens. Let's see if I can create the kind of life that I want to have. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.